So right now we have a 2009 Ford Explorer in the shop with a 4.6 V8 in it. This is actually Brian's truck. He has to have us change out the lower control arms, which are right here on the vehicle. So Steve and I are taking a look at it to see what we're up against, and we get some parts, some new lower control arms, and some hardware to go with it. So we're going to take these out, replace them, and show you guys what you might be up against if you have to replace yours. Before we get started, remember to subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, and subscribe to all of our notifications. That way you'll get a heads up when we upload a new video.
So here's our lower control arm in here. We have an eccentric bolt here. This is the actual adjustment for the wheel alignment. So we bought new hardware for this, new eccentric and everything. And I believe this is the side that's frozen in. So we're gonna have to cut it with the Sawzall blades to get it out. And I believe this side came out for us. So we're gonna pull the wheel. We're replacing the lower control arm. We bought 2 new Moogs. And then we actually got the hardware from Ford because we have to cut this to get it out. We could get the nut off. We could not get the bolt to press through the bushing. It's frozen in the bushing, which is a common issue. So we're gonna have to cut it, and then we've spread these ears out a little bit and remove the control arm with the bushing. And we're gonna install the new one with all new eccentric and hardware. Never sees everything up, so we're not gonna have an issue with it again. And we're gonna do both sides. Brian just put new tires on this. He had previously put new tires on it, and because it was out of alignment, it's wearing the inside of the tire badly. So he went and bought 2 more new tires and ordered all the parts out for it, and we're gonna get this replaced and put the eccentrics back to where they were originally for a starting point. And then when he goes to the alignment shop, they're gonna be able to do the alignment on it, and everything will move, the adjustments will all move, so the alignment will get to be done.
So we're going to hit these bolts a little bit of penetrating oil,
Yeah.
and an attempt to make it easier to remove these, right?
Yeah, that's the theory.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna pull the wheels, and then we'll get rolling on this. We'll tell you all the wrench sizes that you need, and we'll get going. Over here, the trailing arm, the lower control arm, excuse me, has the hole in the washer for the yes cam here. Okay, the eccentric. So we put a mark on it, so we know where to put the new one back in, because this is the one we have to cut on the inside with the Sawzall. This side here doesn't matter on this side, it's just a through hole. So you got a 15/16 here, a 15/16 on the other side here, and then on the eccentric, you got a 13/16 for this side and a 15/16 on this side. Now we'll be able to get the nut off, but we're not going to be able to turn this side here. That's what the problem is. Okay, so we got the 15/16 set up here. We're going to take this off. All right, so we already took out our lower bolt for the lower control arm here, and the eccentric is frozen. So we got a 15/16 wrench. We're going to take this one off, and we know that the bolt isn't turning because we know it's frozen. So we're going to take this bolt off with the eccentric, and then we're going to get the Sawzall in there, and we're going to cut it. So after we get this nut off here, we'll come back here. You might be able to get the impact gun in here or a ratchet in here, and I'm using a 15/16 wrench, and I'll throw a socket and a ratchet on here right now. Go a little quicker. All right, so we got the nut off, and we marked the eccentric with the paint line. We're gonna pry this off, get a screwdriver behind it and get this off, and then we're gonna get the Sawzall in here to cut. On the bar here, there's enough room to get the blade in just to cut the bolt on this side. On the other side, you have to cut through the bushing on this. It takes a little longer. Going through the bolt, it went through pretty quick though. So we just took a screwdriver and pried it up on the eccentric to get it off. Slid that off. We have all new stuff. So we're gonna cut right through this right now with the Sawzall. So we got the Sawzall blade right up in between the bracket, and we're on the bolt. So this side's gonna cut fairly easy. And then the other side, there's no room. We have to cut through the bushing. So let's get this side cut.
Try and pry this over a little bit here. It doesn't move much, so we're gonna have to cut right in here through that rubber, little piece of rubber in the metal to get this thing off, and that's where we're going with it. All right, hopefully it's gonna snap off. And it did. Okay, so now we can remove the control arm, we'll tap it up. And there it is. And like I said, we had to cut both sides of these things to get it out. So, all right, so we'll get everything lubed up and get our eccentrics back in place, and we'll be back in a minute. But now we have our new arm that we're putting in, the new lower arm that goes from here to here. And we're gonna we're gonna show you the bolts that we bought from Ford and all the part numbers that we use to move part numbers. And then we're gonna put our arm in here. This is a solid bolt that goes through this side here with a nut. And then this is the eccentric side that we have marked with our paint lines. And we're gonna finish that up, and that's gonna be it. So the lower control arm is the same part number here. And this is the brand that we used here from Moog. The new bolts that we got here from Ford. And there's 2 in a package, and there was 4 nuts in this package here for all the 4 nuts were the same size. And then here's the eccentric. It came 2 in a package. And then this here was the flat washer on the other side of the eccentric. There was 2 in a package. And these we got from Ford. We tried getting them from Rock Auto, and it was a little difficult to get them, so we ended up going to Ford to get them. And we're gonna never seize all this stuff up right now and get this thing back together. So at this point, it should go pretty quickly. All right, so the tracking arm here, the lower control, I'm gonna call this. You can put it on either way. No matter which way it goes on the same way. So we can tuck this thing up like this, slide this into position, and then pull the arm down. Okay. So pull this arm down. Okay, let's get the eccentric in there. I'm not really worried about our mark right now. We'll get this all in place. Because we have to get the other washer on. This nut goes on here. And then we have the other eccentric that has the dot on it here. It's going to go on the back side here, like this. And they have to fit in between the 2 metal things right here. And these are lining up so that they're going to fit. We're going to put the nut on and run the nut down so it puts tension on this to make sure it's seated in here. We can't have it so it's sitting on top of it. So we're going to put these on and we're going to run these down. Okay, so we have our mark lined up here, okay? And we have it petite so it's right up with the dot, okay? And now we can tighten this side up with the 15/16 wrench. And our dot on this side is lined up as well. Here's that paint mark and here's our dot. Now we're gonna take this for an alignment, but we wanna start off, close to the area. So I can tighten these up right now. Put the cheater wrench on it. Want to make sure these are tight. Okay, now we're going to tighten this one up here. 15/16 on this side. All right, we've
lower control arm back in here in place. We've got our new bushing installed in on the tracking arm. We've got our cam for the eccentric located. The washer's flush in between the two metal spots. So we're pretty much where we started off with this thing, but we've got our new bushings and arms in. And now when it goes to the alignment shop, they'll be able to adjust everything and get the alignment done on it properly. And we'll get the wheel back on this thing, and that should be it.